the Suns have won 7 straight games. And over the last 5 seasons, only the 2017 Warriors and Cavaliers have had longer win streaks in the playoffs, who both reached the finals. For more on how the Suns and the Clippers are prepping for Game 1, here's Rachel Nichols.
Well, Maria, while stars like Paul George or Devin Booker will be front and center today, this series is also a chance to see 2 of the NBA's best coaches operate. 2 years ago, Monty Williams took over a 19-win Suns team and completely changed the culture, demanding accountability while also investing in players' growth so they could actually meet the high bar he was setting for them. For example, one of Monty's favorite expressions with this Phoenix team is, quote, "I'm not calling you out, I'm calling you up." And DeAndre Ayton says it's that approach that has made Monty the best coach he has ever had. Meanwhile, on the Clippers side, Ty Lue has continued to show this playoffs why he is one of the league's elite X and O coaches. Ty's mid-game and mid-series adjustments are a prime reason the Clippers just became the first team in NBA history to come back from an 0-2 series deficit twice in the same playoffs. Ty played in the NBA for more than a decade. He's got 2 rings as a player, 1 as an assistant coach, 1 as a head coach of the Cavs team that pulled off the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history, all of which gives him the confidence to go with his gut in the way a less accomplished coach might not. As he told me, quote, "I don't care what other people think or any rules about what you have to do in this situation or that situation." He said, "I realized I have a knack for seeing the game a certain way, and I just go with my instinct." That instinct has gotten the Clippers to their first conference finals in 50 years. We'll see how much further they can go starting today. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Rachel. It's time for tonight's On the Road presented by Hotels.com, the official travel partner of the NBA. Last night's Game 7, Bucks Nets. I hope you watched every single second of it. Kevin Durant forced OT with the last-second shot, but his 48 points still just were not enough. It was Giannis, it was Chris Middleton. They led Milwaukee to the 115-111 victory and advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals to face the winner of tonight's Game 7 between the Hawks and the Sixers. And we had an incredible duel. Both Giannis and Kevin Durant put up historical performances last night. They became the 3rd pair of opposing players to each score 40 points in the Game 7. LeBron James and Paul Pierce. Uncle P did it in 2008, while Sam Jones and Oscar Robertson accomplished the feat in 1963. In our first overtime Game 7 since 2006. I mean, there were so many things that we could talk about. The dueling 40-point games, going into overtime, the Eastern Conference Finals on the line. But your biggest takeaway was what?
KD's historic shot making. Like, the easy money sniper put on a show in this series. However, once OT got there, he was 0 for 6. And he was just gassed, Maria. In Game 5, 48 minutes. Game 6, 40 minutes. Game 7, 53 minutes. James Harden was hobbled. No Kyrie Irving. It was just too much on one player to overcome. But you got to get a Bucks defense a lot of credit, but KD was outstanding.
And Joe Harris couldn't hit the side of a barn, which is so unusual for Joe Harris. Look, the Bucks are going to win a world title. Bucks are going to win a world title. I mean, that's why you went out and you got guys like P.J. Tucker to guard a guy like Kevin Durant, even though KD put up historic numbers. And I got to give a lot of love to Jrue Holiday. Now, I know people are going to say, how the hell can you give love to Jrue Holiday? He was 5 of 23 from the field. But Jrue Holiday made big shots down the clutch. He made that big 3. He made the pull-up off the right dribble with the one hand. And defensively, look, he got up underneath KD. Jrue Holiday is the reason why you went out, because you wanted a closure in clutch minutes. Him and Chris Middleton together. It's a dangerous combination.
Let's make sure we put some respect on my guy Chris Middleton's name.
Do it.
I agree.
Okay, he's the only player in the history of the NBA playoffs to have 20, 10, 5, and 5 steals in back-to-back games.
Chris Middleton, obviously, he's been clutch for the Bucks the entire playoffs. And Woj, we talked about this on Countdown leading into the game. Coach Bud and his legacy and his coaching job being on the line, and it's all about coaching in the postseason. What is the reaction after the outcome of Game 7?
Kevin Durant comes to an end. Giannis and the Bucks are headed back to the conference finals for the 2nd time in 3 years. Welcome to Playoff Central Live, presented by State Farm. Chris Miles here with NBA Coach of the Year Sam Mitchell, and also the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas. And with that, Isaiah, what did you think of the guys not named Giannis, not named KD in this particular Game 7?
I thought Milwaukee was brilliant, just in terms of finding the weak defenders at the end of the game. And what I mean by the weak defenders, when you talk about, Griffin and you talk about, Harden, those two having injuries, those two playing a lot of minutes, And as you see at the end of the game, they put those two in a lot of pick and roll activity, forcing Durant to have to rotate, Giannis in front of the basket. And I thought from a coaching standpoint, Bud did a great job just in terms of managing the game down the stretch, in terms of getting some of his role players matched up with some of the fatigued, injured Brooklyn players. And on the other side, I just felt that Brooklyn really just boiled down to, Kevin Durant going one-on-one as best he can. And I didn't see Brooklyn run any type of scheme or anything else to really take advantage of some of the personnel that they had out on the floor. Durant was heroic. He did everything he possibly could to be a one-man show. But I thought Milwaukee, as Giannis said, they came collectively together as a team to win the basketball game, and they beat the individual.
Kevin Durant, 48 points in the Game 7, the most ever by a player in a Game 7 in NBA history. So, Sam, some of the things that Isaiah was saying there down the stretch, late game execution, can you take us through some of those plays in
offense, but it just didn't turn out that way.
Well, there we have it. Giannis also 1 point shy of his playoff career high with 40. And these are the only players in NBA history to both score 40 in a Game 7. It's a short list. LeBron James and Paul Pierce, Sam Jones, Oscar Robertson back in 1963. And tonight, Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Let's hear from Steve Nash, and maybe he'll address some of those late game plays in execution or lack thereof.
I just told them how proud I am of them. Just an unbelievable effort. Gave us everything they had, so much adversity this year, first year together. So many changes to the roster and so many injuries, COVID protocols. They couldn't have given us anything more. They couldn't have given us, to take that team, without Kai and James on one leg out there, doing anything he can to help his teammates. It's just, and you go down the line, what BG gave us. Kevin's just, I don't know what more Kevin could do. It's just out of this world. And you could say that for all our guys at a different part of the season, gave us something, and just really, really proud of the group. And I hurt for them more than anything.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York.
Steve, did you ever think you'd be talking to us and not talking about an NBA championship following your last game of the season?
I knew it was possible, especially with all the stuff we faced. I mean, you're missing Kyrie and James is on one leg. It's you have to understand it's not the same. And so, I still thought we could win it. And clearly I think we proved tonight that we could. Game could have gone either way. And so you always know there's a chance anything could happen. And, I think we just faced one too many obstacles this year, and because our guys gave everything they had.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Steve, on the final shot of regulation by Kevin, did you have a chance to look at the replay at all with the refs? How close was it to a three-pointer?
I haven't seen it, sorry.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey Steve, you had a lot of guys playing heavy minutes in overtime. I'm just curious how much you thought fatigue maybe caught up with you guys down the end versus maybe something else.
Yeah, for sure fatigue played a part. I mean,